And good morning, everybody. Welcome, Hot Takes Goodman and Haertl. Bruce, how are you this morning?
I'm well, Eric, and you, I trust?
I am good. Want to wish my beautiful bride, my amazing Mandy, a happy birthday today. I know that you will not ask me how old she is,
of course not.
But let's say for the sake of argument that you did.
All right.
I can tell you the truth or I can give you the correct answer. What do you think I should do?
I think you should give the correct answer.
She's 29.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well done.
Thought you might just want to know.
I would have guessed that. I would have guessed that. Yes, always the correct answer. The correct answer.
Yeah, I mean, I could tell you the truth. I just might not be married in the next, 45 minutes. If I do give the truth, the correct answer.
I think the correct answer is always the best way to go.
With that, I want to tell you about Roller Auction, the leader in Colorado auctions for over 45 years today. Planet Open Box is having an auction for holiday decorations, trees, lights, ornaments, and more. Hey, Christmas is coming up. Online bidding has started at rollerauction.com. And don't forget to go to rollerauction.com to learn about upcoming auctions. Get what you want at the price you want today at Roller Auction. Time now for the lead.
The lead is presented by Smokin' Dave's Barbecue. It is not just the best barbecue in town, it is one of the best restaurants in town. You can find Smokin' Dave's Barbecue off 36th and Pecos.
Talked about it yesterday, then later in the day, players talked about it, about being a 2.5-point underdog to the Packers, even though no home team in the Super Bowl era has ever been a home dog with 10 wins in a row. When Bo Nix was asked about it, he said, I really don't care. My mom thinks we're going to win. Terrific answer.
Great.
I know Bo is saying this publicly, but you were out there yesterday listening to Bo, listening to Sean. Sean was asked about it as well. You talked to the guys in the locker room. I'm sure you had some private conversations as well. That's where you get your real information, which I know you're not going to release anybody's names. So with that, do you think with the private conversations that you had, the guys really care that they're underdogs? Or do you think they're going to use it as fuel to build a bigger chip on their shoulder?
I think that it is a talking point now. I think that there is at least a recognition of it, what it means to each player. I don't know. I don't think it's something that any of them that I talked to, and I talked to a lot yesterday, dwelled on in any way. Some of them were like, "Oh, really? I didn't really know what the line was. I don't check the line," that kind of thing. I'm not sure if I totally go with that or not. I think that those are the types of things that are interesting to just check out. I mean, you got to try not to see a betting line in the way things are these days. So maybe for some, but I think largely though in there, Eric, it's a little bit of a nothing burger. I don't want to say it's nothing at all, but I don't think it's something or other that anyone's spending any time on and grinding about. You know what I mean? So I think their attitude is, we're playing them at home. If we play well, we'll win this game.
Here's the thing. They have been doubted all season. By the way, they have won games.
Right.
This is just nothing more than another log on the fire.
Totally.
That chip is not going to get any bigger. It's already there. And now they have a chance to prove everyone wrong, playing 3 teams at home that each have 9 wins, that are likely headed to the playoffs, and they have to go on the road to take on the Chiefs. So with that, it's either they're going to be right or the people doubting them are going to be right, looking at this gauntlet of games.
Yeah.
There's nothing to talk about at this point.
No, there really isn't, because even if you win this game, even if you go and win this game, you get a nice little national reprieve or betting reprieve, whatever the reprieve is, for about 24 hours. And then the next cycle starts up with Jacksonville coming in. It's different. It's different.
If they beat the Packers.
It's one game. It's one game. You can, yes, if they beat the Packers,
they will not be an underdog the rest of the season.
Well, I don't think they'll be a run. They might be a slight underdog in Kansas City.
Right.
I think, but they'll be a favorite. They'll be a favorite anyway against Jacksonville, and they'll be a favorite at home. They should be a favorite at home over the Chargers. This game is big in the moment, but if you lose the next week against Jacksonville and then you trip up in Kansas City, what does the win over Green Bay really mean? Nothing. It means something in the moment. It means something in the conversation of the moment, but it doesn't mean anything in an overarching fashion. Yes, the eyes on this game will be significant. You've got an NFC Super Bowl contender, AFC Super Bowl contender playing late in the season. They don't see each other a lot. Although I got what we say the Packers 2 years ago, right? Something like that. So from that standpoint, yeah, I totally get it, but I'd be careful about assigning too much or too little to this game. I mean, it is another game. And they'll have 3 more after this game. So, the Broncos haven't even clinched a playoff spot.
Well, but they're going to.
Right. But I just don't want to, for me personally, I'm not assigning too much to this game.
I think how they play over the next 4 games will determine the narrative going into the playoffs. Right. We all know this narrative. This is a team you don't want to face in the playoffs. We've heard that before.
Sure.
You really look at generally speaking, a 5 seed, 6 seed, 7 seed. This is the team you don't want to play. Okay.
Yeah.
With that, depending on how they do over their next 4 games against teams, 3 of them that will likely go to the playoffs, the only narrative will be they're a paper tiger. And this is a team you might want to face, even though you're going on the road. Because if they go 2-2 and look marginal in those 2 wins and don't look good in the 2 losses, that will be the narrative. Who wants to line up to play the Broncos? Right?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I mean, absolutely. But I'm not sure that narratives carry any weight. I mean, it's talk. This is all going to be about.
Yeah, but hold on a second. Let's say they lose 3 of their next 4 and they clinch the division. The narrative would be accurate. You do want to face the Broncos.
Yes.
That's my point exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
Because we know the opposite narrative is you don't want to face them in the opening round. You don't want to face these guys. It would be an accurate narrative, whether the players like it or not.
Yeah.
The proof is, look at what they did against potential playoff teams. 3 of them likely will be. Looking at those teams, they lost those games, or they were close games, or however the game unfolded.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I don't think that would be an inaccurate narrative.
No, I don't think it would be either. Yeah. No, you're right. If that happens, then that does change the narrative. I mean, and because look, the ends of seasons. You're sitting there at 11-2 right now, and 13-4 can look like a hell of a way to finish a season, but you could have an accompanying a narrative with a 13-4 football team that would not be very flattering. Right. That's different. Yeah, that's certainly odd. I'm not, like I said, I'm not sure how much the narrative means. I'll take a crappy narrative against playing all my games at home any day of the week.
Sure.
I don't, the narratives is there it's the fodder that we all deal with and that we produce to a large degree. And the narratives are fun. And sometimes they can be inspirational. Sometimes they can piss you off. Sometimes there's lots of different ways that a team can go with it. I don't think that this team is overly concerned with narratives. I think they just want to win football games.
Right.
And I think that they just want to feel good about their process, because their process is what has been working for them all season long. Continue with the process, continue to let the process hunt, and we'll see where we end up at the end of the year.
All right, let's look ahead to the game on Sunday.
Sure.
What is more intriguing to you? The Broncos defense going up against the Packers offense, or the Broncos offense going up against the Packers defense?
I'll go with the latter. I'm trusting the Broncos defense. The Broncos offense, I'm in a better place with, but you're playing one of the 5 best defenses in the National Football League,
Yep.
with one of the most dangerous pass rusher in the game,
Yep.
who lines up all over the field. He never lines up in the, I mean, he may line up in the same place twice, but he doesn't do it twice in a row. He's all over the place. He comes from different angles and different positions. He's a guy, there's rare people in this league that you have to account for on every single snap of the ball. This would be one of those guys in Micah Parsons, and he's playing like that for the Packers. So I'm going to go Broncos offense against the Packers defense. Can they be more like the team that we have seen in the last 3 weeks or so, 4 weeks or so, where there's been more efficiency? There hasn't been a dynamic blowout or anything like that. But can they be efficient? Can they drive the football? Can they get points at the ends of drives? Can they take time off the clock? Things like that. That's what they were really successful with that against the Raiders, not comparing the Raiders to the Packers, but I think that would be the goal.
I agree with you on the Broncos offense against the Packers defense, just because we kind of know what the Broncos defense is, right? We have a pretty good sample size. And honestly, I am still waiting to see consistency on offense, long drives, converting third downs, not getting to third down and getting first down on first or second down. We're still waiting for that consistency. And they're doing it against, again, a top 5 defense. Yep. And statistically, the Packers are right there with the Broncos.
Yeah.
Minus sacks. However, the Packers they force turnovers.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
But playing devil's advocate with you on this, the Broncos defense ranks first on third down. They rank first in red zone defense, right?
Yep.
While the Packers offense ranks first on third down and second in red zone. This is your classic, something's got to give. Also, the Broncos defense leads the NFL with 55 sacks. They're chasing down the 1984, or is it the 86? I can't remember which one. Bears team with 55 sacks. The Packers have allowed 18 sacks all season.
That's it.
Right. So to me, that is a fascinating matchup. But still, if the Broncos are going to go far in the playoffs, I'm not worried about their defense. I'm more concerned about their offense. I want to see how they do against a top 5 defense.
Yeah, no question about it. And they performed well against I believe at the time, top 7 defense in the Chiefs a couple of weeks ago. I think the challenge is different now. I think the weight of games is different now. Anytime that you're in a position like the Broncos are this late in the season, the weight of games increases exponentially, I think, each and every week. The importance of the game. We understand the importance of this game against the Packers, but more than anything, it's a compare and contrast game. Are you one of those 5 teams in the National Football League that the statistics say are a top 10 offense and a top 10 defense? And can you hang in that strata? We're going to find out about that, about the Broncos. I don't think I'm bullish but I'm leaning towards believing in the process and what I'm seeing. And we've seen 13 weeks of it now, right? I mean, we're in week 15, but we've seen 13 weeks of it competitively for this football team. I think that they've got. It's not. This is how I would typify it. This is another one of those games that if you win this game, it provides so much more for you emotionally, mentally, and confidence-wise than a loss would be in a game like this. A loss would hurt, but I don't think it would help as much as a win would.
Tell me if this means anything to you. The Broncos have played only one team with the top 10 defense. Excuse me, the Packers have played only one team with the top 10 defense all season.
Yeah.
That was against the Eagles. And Eagles won that game, by the way, 10-7.
Yeah.
Considering Green Bay has played only one top 10 defense and it was a loss, does that give you any more confidence going into this game where you can make the case, who has Green Bay really played on defense?
Yeah, if we're talking about it at an elevated level, where we're talking about now championship quality matchups and teams, yes. Yeah, I would say that this is a pretty tough one. You're coming into Denver, you're facing this defense, and it's a tough ask. Jordan Love, I was looking at metrics yesterday. When he's playing in clean air, like most quarterbacks, he's right there. In fact, I believe he's number 2 in the NFL in QBR. I mean, he's had a hell of a season, but he is a very average quarterback when pressured.
Well, all quarterbacks are like that.
I understand that, Eric. I understand that, but when you are, if you can make a Jordan Love somewhat average, that changes the look of a team that might surprise people that this is not a top 10 offense. This is a top third offense in the league, a very competent offense. It's an offense that scores, so they do score points in bunches, but it has been an offense that's been okay this season. And it's an offense that statistically, at least in total yards, and you and I talk about this all the time, be careful about what you assign to this, is not that much better than the Broncos.
No, because when you look at the statistics only, and I don't necessarily look at the statistics and draw an opinion over it, the Broncos have averaged 2 more yards per game than the Packers offense.
Right, yeah.
And the Packers have averaged 1 more point a game.
Yeah.
They look almost even. However,
yeah,
when you don't even have to drill deep on it.
No.
When you drill down maybe a foot into the ground, the Packers offense is better than the Broncos offense. Isn't that fair to say?
I mean, you would, but I mean, but is it a slam dunk? I don't know. I mean, I think if you are hurrying Jordan Love, and there are metrics that indicate this.
Well, here, let's go back to a game where you have the greatest quarterback of all time in Tom Brady, 2015 AFC Championship game.
Right.
They just kept hitting him. Now, you got to hit the guy legally, and I know that quarterbacks are protected, but it's kind of like chopping down a tree. You're not going to take down a really good quarterback with one swing of the axe. Just keep touching him.
Yeah.
Just keep getting near him. Make this guy hear footsteps that are not there. And that's how you throw a really good quarterback off balance. That's what they did in 2015 to Tom Brady, right? And I believe it was Antonio Smith who actually said to me and Les Shapiro at the time, Tom Brady is Cry Brady. All you have to do is just keep hitting him. Became a huge national story. I think it was Antonio Smith. It was a defensive player who said, He's a crybaby. That's exactly what he is, because he'll keep complaining to the refs. And once you start complaining to the refs, you are out of your game.
Yeah, agreed.
You are more concerned about guys hitting you late or hitting you too hard, where now your focus is someplace else. It's kind of like if you go to the gym and you're lifting weights and you're feeling the pain every single time you push that bar or pull that bar or push down that bar. Once that pain is in your head, you are not going to be lifting as much.
Yeah.
But if you can find a way to tune that out, you will lift more weight. You will get more, I'll use a kid's term, you'll get more swollen, bigger biceps. Point is, every quarterback, you can get into their head if you just keep chopping. And by the fourth quarter, that guy is seeing ghosts.
Yes. And that's
it can happen to any quarterback.
Without
the
question.
Broncos with their pressure rate and the Broncos with the way they sack the quarterback, no, they don't force a lot of turnovers. But the Broncos are the type of team that can keep chipping. And by the fourth quarter, Jordan Love is spinning and running from guys that aren't there.
Yeah, and that's the hope. And that is literally the hope as you go into a game like this. You don't have to have big sack totals. It's great to have them always, but your pressure rate's got to be high. And I think that this is a game that that will really indicate that. I mean, how many quarterbacks have really gone off on the Broncos this year? Daniel Jones went off on the Broncos, no question about it. Jackson Dart had some success against the Broncos. But I mean, the Broncos faced the number one offense in the NFL on their home field and made Dak Prescott look like they're, they were his daddy in that game. I mean, so the Broncos have the capacity to do this, and they have the capacity to do it through their pressure rate.
Coming up after the break, our friend Sean Keeler of the Denver Post had a really nice conversation with CJ Anderson. And Sean asked CJ, how different or how similar are the two Broncos teams, one from 10 years ago that won a Super Bowl, and this team? His answer, I don't know if it'll necessarily surprise you, but it's interesting nonetheless. We'll talk about it next.
Ferguson's Heating and Cooling is the best in Denver, and their customers agree. Ferguson's has 165 5-star Google reviews, and here's one from Betsy. Highly professional, prompt, and honest. I switched to Ferguson's when I became aware my former company was trying to sell me a whole new system I didn't need. Ferguson's is an honest, working, family-owned business that'll give you a fair price, the highest quality parts and equipment, and they always show up on time. You can trust the Ferguson family like you trust your own family. Go to fergusonsheatingandcooling.com.
Everyone has their favorite barbecue spot. Mine, Smokin' Dave's Barbecue and Brew. My favorites, slowly smoked ribs, smoked corned beef Reuben, smoked meatloaf with a portobello balsamic cream sauce. And don't forget about Smokin' Dave's 16-hour smoked brisket and pork with one of their 4 homemade barbecue sauces. Great sides, you bet. Barbecue beans made with pork and brisket and their southern corned bake. Man, you gotta try it. Plus, they have amazing non-barbecue entrees on the menu. Go where I go, Smokin' Dave's Barbecue and Brew in North Denver.
Ever wondered where city and county fleet vehicles go when they retire? Now's your chance to find out and score big. Imagine driving away with a great deal on a reliable vehicle. For over 45 years, Roller Auction has been the trusted source for government fleet vehicles and equipment. Trucks, SUVs, sedans, and more, all selling to the highest bidder. Don't miss out. Visit roller.bid/hot takes to get auction updates today. Your next vehicle could be just a click away.
Everyone has their favorite sports bar. Mine, the Sportsbook Bar and Grill in Highlands Ranch, DTC, and now in Parker. All their locations are everything a sports bar should be. An upscale menu with 12 different burgers, outstanding wings, and my favorite, the Philly cheesesteak egg rolls. They've got every game on the NFL Sunday Ticket, MLB Extra Innings, NHL Center Ice, NBA League Pass, plus soccer, rugby, and UFC. Sportsbook, great hangout bar, great for private parties. The Sportsbook Bar and Grill in Highlands Ranch, DTC, and now in Parker. They are the sports bar.
Here's another great promotion from Sasquatch and Wildcard Casinos in Blackhawk. On December 13th, it's their annual holiday auction for a pair of Super Bowl tickets, tools, jewelry, electronics, toys, and kitchen appliances. Earn auction currency with every locked-up jackpot, players' points, or a daily cash drawing. There's so many ways to earn currency, and the more you play, the more you'll be able to bid and win what you want at their auction. So get up to Sasquatch and Wildcard Casinos and start stacking your auction currency today.
Everyone has their favorite barbecue spot. Mine, Smokin' Dave's Barbecue and Brew. My favorites, slowly smoked ribs, smoked corned beef Reuben, smoked meatloaf with a portobello balsamic cream sauce. Don't forget about Smokin' Dave's 16-hour smoked brisket and pork with one of their 4 homemade barbecue sauces. Great sides, you bet. Barbecue beans made with pork and brisket and their southern corn bake. Man, you gotta try it. Plus, they have amazing non-barbecue entrees on the menu. Go where I go, Smokin' Dave's Barbecue and Brew in North Denver. And welcome back. Hot Takes with Goodman and Haertl. You just heard about Smokin' Dave's Barbecue and Brew. And with the holiday season coming up, maybe you're throwing a holiday party. Highly recommend that you cater in from Smokin' Dave's. If you don't want to cook for Christmas, you can cater in from Smokin' Dave's. And let me just give you an idea of what you can do at Smokin' Dave's if you do want to cater in. I don't know how big your party's going to be, but tell me how this sounds. Full rack of St. Louis ribs, a whole chicken, half pound of pulled pork, half pound of beef brisket, served with 4 large sides, and the sides are amazing, whether it's the mac and cheese or the collard greens. 6 pieces of cornbread, serves up to 5 to 7 people, and it's under $100. And the food is absolutely amazing. I think it's not only the best barbecue spot in town, I think it's one of the best restaurants in town. It's more than just barbecue on a plate. Go look at the menu and see how Dave has constructed each individual item. It's like each piece, each menu item. And I'm not exaggerating when I say this. It's like a piece of art. It really is, because it is so creative on how he puts together barbecue. I'll give you another example. There's something on the menu called the Heart Attack. Right? Usually when you go to a barbecue place, you get some brisket, maybe you get some mac and cheese, maybe you get some fries, maybe you get some beans. Tell me how this combo sounds, and tell me if you've ever seen this at another barbecue place. This is called the Heart Attack. 2 jalapeno cheddar biscuits topped with bacon, pulled pork, shredded cheese, 2 over easy eggs, and house-made sausage gravy. That is a combination of flavors that you will not see on many menus.
No.
Specifically, a barbecue place. And that's all the way up and down the menu. Smokin' Dave's Barbecue and Brew. You can find them off of 36 and Pecos. Time now for What's Trending.
What's trending on Hot Takes with Goodman and Haertl? Brought to you by Mile High Sports.
All right, Sean Keeler of the Denver Post sat down with our friend C.J. Anderson about this Broncos team compared to his Broncos team 10 years ago that won the Super Bowl. This is what C.J. had to say. We were winning all of these one-score games, and everybody else was trying to figure us out and said, well, they haven't really played anybody. Then we had a big game against the Packers and said, well, here we go. This is what it is. Even though the decisive win over the Packers, 29-10, by the way, was an exclamation point on a 7-game winning streak to start the season, this Sunday's game is 13 games into the season. But do you think we could be saying, following this Packers game, here we go, this is what it is?
Yeah, I do think that. I agree. There is value in the outcome of this game. But I do think that a win would be much more impactful than a loss at this point in terms of perception. If we're talking narratives, if we're talking perceptions, I think this is, you and I have talked about this. There's games that the Broncos have played that the manner in which they played means absolutely nothing. It's the outcome that means something. You win this game, the perception changes. There is no question about it. This is a 9-3-1 football team that, along with the Rams and the and the Seahawks are one of the three teams that pretty much everyone has playing in the Super Bowl from the NFC. So
give me a score that's going to make you go, okay, this is who they are. Give me a score that makes you think, oh, not 29-10 certainly did it 10 years ago. But give me a score that would make you say, okay, this team is for real. Not to say they're not.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about the general perception.
You're talking in general, yeah, because I'm already there. So I will say that. I do think this team is for real. I think from a national standpoint, I think that if you win this by 2 scores at home,
yep.
Give me 2 scores at home, and play clean, play a game that looks good, dominate in. I don't think that you're probably going to dominate in this game in one facet or another, but if you play clean and if you can win a game like this by a couple of scores, I think that will end up probably doing the trick. I think that people will finally say, well, let's, are they not giving them their due right now? I mean,
Who's that?
The national perception is.
We talked about this yesterday, Bruce.
Yeah.
9 power rankings came out earlier this week, and the Broncos are not number 1 in any of them.
But they are 3 or 4, and
they are the number 1 team in the NFL right now, record-wise.
Yeah.
They're the best team in football, according to their record. Of course, there's a tie break, I get it, with the Patriots. But right now, if I'm not mistaken, if the NFL draft was today, the Broncos would be picking last.
Yeah, they'd be picking 32. I have seen that much. Yeah.
Which is bizarre to me, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
considering where we had been with this franchise over the last however many years, minus obviously last year and maybe even Sean's first year. It is mind-boggling to see the number 32 next to the Broncos in the draft.
It doesn't matter to me as much about national perception or the narrative.
Correct.
But the narrative would change. Yes, there would be. I think that it sounds ridiculous when you start to think about a team that is 11-2, that has won 10 straight games, still having to somehow prove themselves on a national level. I don't think that the Broncos feel like that's a motivating factor, but I think that they look at this opponent and say, we've got enough to do without worrying about what other people are thinking about us at this time.
Winning 10 games in a row, and then being underdogs at home, I think to the guys in the locker room, that's laughable. Okay. Keep doubting us. Okay. We only won 10 in a row.
Yeah, that's a good
in multiple ways.
Good description. Yeah.
Okay.
The right word.
With that. More from CJ was asked about the similarities between this team and the team that won the Super Bowl 10 years ago. He specifically talked about the offense for both teams to start. He said, this current group of Broncos on offense is probably better than we were on offense. They take care of the football. That's not totally true.
Right.
They move the ball. That's not totally true. They're scoring. That's not 100% true unless you're talking about the fourth quarter. They're converting third downs. That happens inconsistently. They play great on defense. That was our formula to win the Super Bowl, and that's the same thing from them right now. So what similarities do you see between the two teams? And what are the differences between the two teams? Because honestly, this is like the Lincoln-Kennedy conspiracy.
Yeah.
Lincoln had a vice president named Johnson.
Right.
And Kennedy had a vice president named Johnson. And Lincoln was killed in Ford's Theater. And Kennedy was killed in a Ford. I mean, you can go on and on and on. You know, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Lincoln was killed in Monroe, Maryland. And Kennedy was at one time in Maryland, Monroe. Did I go too far with that?
It is a podcast, so I'll just go ahead and let that one fly out into the ether.
Okay.
Okay. And here's my deal. I would say the one difference, there are differences. You can't, there are remarkable similarities too. But here's one difference I think that is real. The Broncos defense in 2015 saw their reputation rise in the postseason. Their greatness really, go look at the run in the postseason. They were very, very good during the season. I'm not saying that. But where they were great, where they had, where they left their mark is in the run in the postseason. They controlled opposing offenses in the postseason run right through the Super Bowl. That
Correct.
is where that defense really, I think, more than anything, made their reputation. This defense has made their reputation through a very consistent offering in the regular season. There's been a couple of speed bumps along the way, but by and large, this team has won because of their defense. Their defense putting them in a position to win games, and then the offense following through. From that standpoint, the offense has been better in the regular season than I think their predecessors in 2015. They've been great in the fourth quarter. And people tend to kind of dismiss that like, well, that's a character flaw instead of a really solid character trait. I mean, it's a great thing that you can finish like you finish in the fourth quarter. That's a great thing to have in your hip pocket, and the belief that you can do it. That's huge. Now, we've used the word sustainable. Is it sustainable? Well, I guess we're fixing to find out.
This Broncos team has proven, to your point, just piggybacking off of what you said, because I know you didn't cover the 2015 team, but you were covering the Chiefs, so you saw the Broncos twice a year, and you're always watching teams in your own division in the media, no matter where you are at in the country.
Right.
If the Broncos offense in 2015 fell behind in a game, barring the defense forcing a turnover, they were pretty much cooked because they were a running team at that point.
Yeah.
The 2015 team was a better running team. Yeah. This team is a better passing team with Bo Nix. Peyton Manning was a shell of himself. But what made the run so impressive to me was look at the quarterbacks they beat and look at the quarterbacks they're going to have to beat.
Yeah.
Right? It's not the same level.
No.
Because they beat Ben Roethlisberger, I would say, in his prime. They beat Tom Brady, while not in his prime, was still unbelievable.
Yeah. And
then they beat the MVP, and they beat the hell out of him and basically ended his career, in my opinion, in Cam Newton.
Yeah.
Okay? What this defense does well is get to the quarterback and pressure the quarterback. And that's a great thing to have. They do that better than the 2015 team did. But the 2015 team, boy, they were great at forcing turnovers.
Yes.
And that's where this defense isn't as good at all.
In fact, honestly, they're not good. In fact, they're just not good, period.
Correct. Right. But I'll ask you, let's just say this is the Broncos offense in the playoffs. Is the Broncos defense good enough to overcome what I'm about to rattle off to you? Their game against the Steelers, they won that game in 2015, 23-6, 23 points. It would be pretty good was more than pretty good for that offense because of the Broncos defense. 23 points. How did they get those 23 points? 1 touchdown and 5 field goals. And 3 of those field goals were drives of 20 yards or less.
Yeah.
I'm not done yet. It gets even better. Against the Patriots, they won that game 20-18. The Broncos had a total of 244 yards in that game and 10 points, with one of them being a touchdown, obviously. 10 points came on drives of 23 yards or less, and the TD came following a interception. Against the Panthers, would you like to guess, unless you know the answer? You know how many yards the Broncos had in the Super Bowl offensively?
276.
194 yards.
There you go. Wow.
194 yards.
That's it.
And the defense forced 4 turnovers, 2 touchdowns, and 1 field goal. Came on plays of 15 yards or less because the defense kept forcing turnovers, giving short fields. That's not what this defense does.
Yes.
So if I just gave you, with all 3 games, the total yardage and the really, really short drives, do you think the Broncos defense this year can win a Super Bowl if the offense from 2015 is their offense?
No, probably no. Not the. I think this offense is better than the 2015 offense.
I do too. But is this defense good enough to overcome offensive performances in the playoffs like we saw in 2015? If I heard you correctly, you said no, and I would say
so.
No. I mean, I would say no as well.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so. And I mean the stats, and here are stats that don't lie. I wish I had the exact number because I was dwelling on this the other day. When you get a defensive touchdown or a special team score, a score in either one of those areas, the stats say that you win 86 or 88% of the time. It's
Right.
a staggering number. That when you are able to create a defensive score or a special team score, much like they had last weekend in Vegas.
Yep.
Remember, they scored 24 points in that game, but 7 of them came from special teams. And people, so I mean, what it does is it makes the path towards winning so much easier because those are unexpected points.
Think about, at the risk, I know I'm cutting you off here, but let's look at numbers. Let's look at numbers here. And I could be wrong. There could have been a special teams touchdown, the other games I'm talking about. So maybe I'm kind of talking out of my ass. Okay. But maybe there was a special teams touchdown or a short field given to the opponent of the Raiders. Okay. The Broncos scored in 2 games. 2 games. The offense in 2 games scored 27 points. That's it. In 2 games, the offense scored 27 points because they scored 10 in the first game, and then they scored 17 in the most recent game. The Chargers put up 31 on the Raiders. The Browns scored 24. The Cowboys scored 33. The Jaguars scored 30. The Chiefs scored 31. That's why national people are looking at the Broncos offense and saying, all these other teams outside of Cleveland scored more points in 1 game offensively than you did in 2. Right. That is concerning.
I guess.
What do you mean you guess?
Well, I mean, I don't think that I don't think that's concerning.
What's that?
I mean, I don't think it's concerning if you are chewing up 8.5 and 9.5 minutes on scoring drives that you put 7 points on the back end of it.
What happened with what happened with the rest of the potential scoring drives? Came up empty.
Well, they ended up getting what? They ended up getting a field goal out of one of them.
A field goal.
So, I mean, but I hear you. Yeah, the idea is to score points. No question about it.
In the playoffs, the idea is to score touchdowns.
Yeah.
Unless you are the 2015 Broncos and you can put up 5 field goals and win.
Yeah.
With 1 touchdown. By the way, one thing that we haven't talked about is we mentioned C.J. Anderson. Guess who's coming back to town? Brandon McManus.
Yeah, that's right.
He was arguably the offensive MVP during the playoffs with all of the field goals he kicked. Because he kicked a lot. Yeah,
I'm sure Brandon will be happy to be back home. I don't know if it's home anymore. Maybe it isn't. I'm not sure. I think that it's a very interesting game on a lot of different levels. And usually when you're 13 weeks, or 15 weeks into the season, you have learned about all that you really need to know about the team that you're covering. And you and I are covering it every day.
Yeah.
But there are plenty of things that I expect to learn about this football team, not only in a 60-minute stretch this weekend against the Packers, but as we pointed out, over the last 4 weeks. I think we learn a lot about the Broncos and not only who they are, but more importantly, what they can become in the playoffs. I think that this 4 weeks is going to give us a really good indication of what their chances in the postseason really look like.
And that's why I'm glad their schedule is the way it is.
Me too.
Couldn't have worked out any better. That's going to do it for us. Hot Takes Goodman and Haertl. Make it the best possible day you can.